Okay, sorry for the people who watch the video later on. I forgot to record the first 15 minutes of the class, but just watch the syllabus and you get some information about the class, communication, and also textbooks and the topics. If you have questions, please reach me out later on. Questions so far? No, no quizzes. Yeah, there is no exam and quiz in this class. Participation, assignment, term project. So basically, your quizzes would be some sort of assignments. Because class is in different format, you cannot have a quiz actually, because people are in different even time zones. So, and some of you, I have students who are doing internship and their local time, their work time overlap with the class. So we cannot have a actual quiz. So your quizzes all goes through assignments. Okay, 45% of your evaluation is based on your final project. It has 2 deliverables. So first deliverable is mostly about introduction and understanding of like concepts of blockchain and the history. And basically you put some statistics, visualizations, and then you talk about blockchain. So basic introduction of blockchain technologies. So your second deliverable, which has 80% of that 45%, is actually a product in the blockchain environment. You can create NFT, you can create token, or anything about that should be good. Also, you can do a data-driven project. For example, if you had a Python course and machine learning course, if you remember, you had used machine learning to predict something. That could be a project too. But one of the, I think, more straightforward type of project is creating NFTs, which I teach you how to do and how to post it. That one might cost you between $5 to $10 because doing thing on Ethereum or Solana or blockchains are not free. It might cost a little bit, but that's a type of project. One semester, one of your friends, final project was about his internship in a mining company. So he talked about those statistics, how the mining works, so on and so forth. One of your students was very active in gaming industry. So doing gaming with cryptocurrency, something like that. So actual works are more appreciated, but again, you can do a data-driven project. So among those 80 points, 30 points is about how you present. And I highly appreciate good quality presentations. Example of bad presentation is just text created by AI and people come just read from the text. So you should be able to explain, you should be very knowledgeable about your topic, and you should explain and present in a smooth way. So if you present in the class, either online or in person, I give you 1 week. And I give you some feedback to resubmit. So as you see, the due date is 23rd of next month. But if you present in class, you can get my feedback and resubmit or update your submission by July 2nd. You may or may not resubmit or update. I might say it's a good project and that's it. But if you present the class, you can get my feedback to resubmit. Any question about the project? Okay, so creating policies, similar to many courses you had so far, A minus, B plus, B minus, hopefully everyone A. But as long as you get more than 95, you get A in my class. So about academic honesty and integrity, please follow university codes. You can use AI to get inspired. You can use AI to resolve your coding issues, but you should do your own. You should submit your own work. You cannot just get commands to AI, let's say ChatGPT or Google Gemini, and let them to create your final project. So one other thing I want from you guys, before submitting, at least check with Google Gemini and Zero GPT to see if they recognize is it a human text or AI generated text. And if Zero GPT says AI created product, you don't get the credit, and is a violation of academic integrity. Here at Clark, we are very easygoing with this kind of issues, but in the United States is a significant thing. People might lose their jobs. But at Clark, at least we have a very loose policy. Okay, we have 14 main topics. Depends on your background knowledge, depends on the feedback that I get from you. I might extend or reduce some topics. But generally speaking, we have 14 major topics. So we start from introduction, basic and concept of blockchain design, cryptocurrency, NFT, some Solana applications. This is a blockchain platform that I'm interested in it. I might exchange Solana with Ethereum because it's more prevalent. Metaverse, application of blockchain supply chain, and decentralized finance. Okay, so I don't see any major thing that I need to explain more, and I don't see your raised hand. So it seems we are good to go. Okay, before doing that, from the few people that are in the class, I just ask you to introduce yourself and a fun fact about yours. Oh, you? Nice. You? You love cricket? Cricket, I never understand cricket. I think I know many people love that, but sometimes I see that they play very long times and they're just in different days, right? Sometimes they cannot finish a game in one day, right? Actually, it takes 5 days. 5 days, okay. Oh, okay. So about horror movies, I'm not sure how long have you been in Massachusetts, but there is a good amount of haunted houses in Massachusetts, and there is some haunted tours. So especially if you go Salem or Boston, so there is some tours that they just they're more usually they're near Halloween, but even in I think you can find some schedules in other dates, and they show you and talk about the stories of those haunted houses. Motorcycle. Getting license for driving motorcycle in US is easy. If I think if you get e-bike, you don't even need a license. I'm not very exactly sure, but I think nobody check licenses for e-bikes. You haven't tried that. What kind of motorcycle you love? Harley Davidson. Oh, that's a nice one. For that one, you need a license. But I'm not sure if you have a plan to buy it, but the good thing there is some clubs here. So people who has people who has Harley Davidson, they don't use it for work. It's just a hobby. So they have some clubs over the weekends. They just go outside and drive together. So if you go to some highway, you see like 10, 20 people driving Harley Davidson next to each other. You have seen that? Okay. Okay, so let's start today's lecture. It's not a very lengthy one. This is the first class. But from the next class, please, if either you come through the online format or in the class, have your laptops ready so we have some experiment that needs your laptop. I only see, I think you have Mac, you guys have Windows, right? Windows laptop. So the teaching format in School of Management is based on Windows laptops. I'm going to share a document. So you can ask Microsoft. So Microsoft Azure, it gives you like virtual desktop that you can do our experiment over that virtual desktop. So they give you 100 hours of free usage of that. That's fine. For other courses, is it your first semester here or not? Second semester. You definitely have a course with me because nobody else teach that. That's a big data course. Yeah, I mean, you have one course with me that you definitely have the issue, and also there is a visualization course. For those two courses, you need either have a Windows laptop or use that Microsoft Azure virtual desktop. But also you can use the lab. So in the lab we have Microsoft, Windows-based PC. Yeah, you don't have to buy it, and don't buy it because laptop is expensive. But if you have extra one, that's fine. My point is that experiments are over Windows laptops. I used to have a MacBook, but I haven't used it for like last 5 or 6 years. So I forgot how to do those things over Apple products. These are good laptops, but we don't use it here. Okay, so these are the main topics that we have. So today we go over mostly cryptocurrency and blockchain concepts. And from next classes, as I said, we have hands-on experience. So these are 4 pillars of this course. Although this is a hands-on experience course, you have to have some concepts and some understanding about the blockchain. Technologies is another big one. Market, because you're a business student, also applications. So for you guys are in the class now, I know you guys know Python, but the people who are joined from other majors, you need to have some understanding of any sort of program. So Python is the easiest. So for the class experiments, we not only use Python, we use other programming languages, but at least have Python ready and have a laptop that are ready to use. Do we have charging ports here? Yeah. So no. You have those. Okay. So this is a 3 hours course. So I'm not sure if your laptop batteries could survive, but we have some charging points in the class. So having said that, for your first assignment, I need you guys to introduce yourself in maybe half a page or 1 page. Talk about yourself, your background, hobbies, and a picture of you, because I want to remember your names. And this is a small class, so hopefully I remember all of your names. I think you have been in my other class, right? That one was hard to remember everyone. Like it was 43 students. Okay. Okay, so let's talk about cryptocurrency first, because this is the most well-known concept of blockchain. Is one of the major applications. So it's not blockchain, but this, I mean, almost everyone knows what is Bitcoin. Okay. So let's go back a little bit and talk about money. What is money? So money is a medium for storing financial value. So unit of account, medium of exchange. So you exchange your money for US dollar to be able to register in the universities. You exchange your money to buy laptop, buy a ticket. So because either because of your own parents or yourself or the money that you owe to a bank, you get some financial value in your account. With that value, with money, you can exchange the value with a product. You guys are from India and China, so I think your currency is acceptable inside the United States, but isn't as acceptable as India or China. You can exchange it here. Maybe some people accept rupees and yuan, right? Yuan, but not everyone. So as you see, here you need social acceptance of your own currency is not as prevalent as your own country. But still, I'm pretty sure many people accept yuan and also rupees. There are some countries that their currency is not acceptable here. I'm from one of those. I'm from Iran. Or all times, Soviet Union, they couldn't use their currency everywhere. Nobody accepted. So as you see, money is not just the value, also the social acceptance of that value. Let's look at an example of social acceptance for Global. This is a man-made cryptocurrency created by a person. What makes money? What makes making money? What is its power? What is its power? It's not real. It's also power. What was
currency like created in 2008 to question the notion of what coin is, what currency is. It's also a proponent of intervention. So we're actually you could I try to exchange, I simply and right now exchange, which is okay, I'm free, I'm to okay. Absolutely. Very often, first question I think class when I'm trying to explain is real. And this is a big question because the only time that I've ever seen people having their own senses. But you just saw it. And so my response is important for yourself. Some people think I'm trying to scam them, I have to respect them, and I don't think that the dollar is any different than the only thing that makes the dollar real with our project is the fact that people around the United States borders accepted it.
So for US dollars, yuan, rupees, there's a strong social acceptance because believe to the countries that are issuing them. So for the currencies that are commonly used, we usually call them fiat money. So money is actually a value. Fiat money is the value that are printed or deposited in your bank accounts. So medium of unit of transaction between financial ledgers. So if you have had any accounting course, I think the concept of ledger is very should be very known for you. Otherwise, this is just basically an accounting book that shows who owes to whom, or like a booking concept that shows the origin and destination of some values and exchanges. So let's say your bank account, you have $100. So there is no printed dollar. It just in the ledger of the bank, you have $100. And also that ledger is connected to Central Bank of United States. So whenever they say that US government issued money, it just, there's someone or a group of people who just click on some button and said, okay, now we issue more money. So it's basically they control the issuance of the money, the amount of money that they can spend or like depositing on different accounts. So for the fiat money, the central government controls everything, the issuance, the amount of exchanges. And also, this is an origin of inflations. If you have been in, I think almost everywhere around the world, but in the US it was in 220 and 221 because of government was very afraid of economical activities. They think because of COVID it might be blocked, so they just issued a good amount of money to everyone. I think even if you were a student at that time, you could get some free money from the US government. So they just said, okay, let it go. Also, they reduced the interest rate for the loans and they let everyone who wants the loan could get it. So because of these things, we got a big amount of inflation in the United States. House prices, rent, food, all of them went up significantly. So if you ask from your friend at that time, renting a room was much cheaper than now. I just give an extra comment. In the Worcester, I expect the rent would go down. Is that because of inflation or deflation? Because we lost some population. So the market also, there is less amount of people who wants to rent a house. So it might be, we might see a decrease, but it's not because of inflation or deflation. It's just a market. Okay, so there is two countries by now that I'm aware of, El Salvador and Central African Republic. In those countries, Bitcoin Bitcoin is a legal tender. So it just means they can give, they can buy houses, they can give salaries, they can do trade, everything with Bitcoin. If they, everyone is liable about that. So you can go to the court system and do everything in those countries with Bitcoin. And I think, I'm not sure about Central African Republic, but I know it had some pros and cons in El Salvador. There's some people are very happy about that. Some people have some doubts, but I think generally speaking, it has some positive effect in El Salvador. So fiat money that is issued by central banks of countries need a mediator. So government doesn't send the money to you directly, or almost they cannot. So money that comes into your bank is through banks. So the government issues some values to the banks, and you indirectly connect to central bank through commercial banks. Question? But financial value wasn't always like fiat money. I think during the history, foods, gold, seashells, while they had some financial value and people could use it for exchanges, even sometimes sea salts, because salt was expensive in some eras. So recently, recent centuries, we opt to use fiat monies. We also saw values in some other things like arts. So there are some expensive piece of arts. No banks support them, but because of social acceptance, people believe some piece of art could worth millions of dollars. More recently, we are in the Bitcoin era, so there is no physical thing supporting digital currency. It's just social acceptance, and people believe that Bitcoin has some values. Even very recently, we see people believe in NFTs, and some NFTs, like these things that even probably your nephew or niece can create them, some of them worth millions of dollars. We will talk about them, so we will see why people believe they have values and also how blockchain guarantees those values. So with fiat money, your central bank support the fiat money. They back those. They back financial values for them. Something like gold, food, they have intrinsic values, but something like NFT, digital cryptocurrencies, and also artistic art, their value just comes from social acceptance. Do you guys know Pablo Escobar? So one time, for saving his life and his children's lives, he has to burn $2 million to warm him, to warm up himself and his family. So for him, those money didn't have any value. The value was their life. So they just burned it. If they had woods, they could burn, but it was the only thing that he could burn at that time. Yeah, I think Netflix has a very good one. Also, you can find some movies about it. There's an interesting stories about Yap Island. So in Yap Island, actually the historical story, but they created rye stone, these big stones, and they they actually use it as some sort of currency for exchanging values. They are very big and heavy. Sometimes, I mean, if let's say if they wanted to buy some food, they just carry those heavy stones, give it to someone else, and take foods instead. Interestingly, sometimes during transportation, they lost them. Sometimes they just drown in the river, but they knew they are there, although they couldn't see, but they use it for exchanging for values. So they had some sort of ledger. To make it more simplistic, just let's say they have some accounting book they call ledger. So they say, okay, there's a rye stone down the river. It belongs to him, and it's worth, let's say, 100. It's worth 2 cows. The guy who owned the rye stone down the river, he could also could use it for selling or buying more products. For example, he said, okay, I transferred my 2 rye stones that are drowned in the river to someone else, and in exchange I could get some wood or food. Let's just go back to your fiat money, either US or China or India. So, do you guys have your own currency in your pocket right now, or any US currency? So, do you have any printed money now? You have? Okay. Just show it. You don't have to bring it here. So how much is it, like 100? Why it worth 100 rupees? Why that piece of paper that I think it might cost 5 rupees? Why you believe it has 100 rupees of value? Yeah. Okay, because your government backed it. So, but maybe it just, it's just a government voice. So they don't have, let's say, they don't have 100 rupees of gold in somewhere. They just said, okay, let's assume it has this value, and they give it to you. Since you believe in your government, you accept that, okay, this piece of paper worth of 100 rupees. Interestingly, some government tried to copy other governments' currencies. I think there's a Netflix shows even for that. So I think it happened for US dollars. So if you are from Middle Eastern countries and you have an old version of US dollars, they may not accept in the US because some people believe they are fake printed dollars. So although you might have a printed US dollars that, let's say, it's at $100, some people don't accept it. Okay, so the modern evolution of financial value started from gold or silver coins. Those times, gold and silver had some intrinsic value. At least people could use it for jewelry. People could use it for, let's say, some silverware, but at least they had some intrinsic values. Thousands of years ago, I forgot exactly, China created printed money. But even at that time, let's say, I forget the exact date, I can look it up. Let's say 2,000 years ago in China, there was a financial institution. They had, let's say, 100 coins of gold. They write on the paper that somebody has 100 coins of gold coins in the Chinese institution. So they could, let's say, travel from China to Shanghai and show the paper, and everybody accepted that. Because they said, okay, if I go back to Beijing, I can get those coins back because this backed by actual coins. More recent areas in the credit card time, actually it started from, I think, 1960 or 70, which the government stopped to back their currency with gold. They just said, okay, our voice is enough. Because of our economy, we can promise some values for fiat money, and people accept it. And the last innovation is Bitcoin. Actually, it started with Bitcoin, in which the cryptocurrency or financial value is not backed by a government. It's backed by all the people around the world. So before Nixon era, we had a Bretton Woods system in which every ounce of gold was $35. So if the government said this is, let's say, $350, it means you have 10 ounces of gold in the Central Bank of the United States. They backed all the paper money with or bank accounts with the actual gold. Nixon finished that because there's some different stories, but the major ones that you can look it up in the internet. After World War, the US government printed so many dollars and they issued so many bank accounts. They just give away so many values to different governments, and also here inside the United States, some government doubts that US doesn't have that amount of gold. So especially France started to reach out to United States and just bring all those money and said, okay, this is your dollars, give me those golds. Nixon just said no. From now, we don't back our US dollar with the gold. It's just based on the acceptance around the world. But since then, because the government had a major control over the issuance of dollars, we had a lot of inflation. Because if you just print too much of money, you definitely face some inflation. We already talked about them. So there's two major inflation stories. One about German mark. So right now in the Europe, including Germany, the currency is a euro. But before that, each country has different currencies. Like for Germany, it was Deutsche Mark. So after Treaty of Versailles, because Germany lost the First World War, they had to pay too many money to many people. So they promised to pay 150 billion of gold marks as a debt of the treaty. So they didn't have that much of money. So they have to just print out too many Deutsche marks. Because of printing too many, they cause major inflation, hyperinflation. So that time people have a lot of struggle in getting necessities like food. For example, let's say you work from 8 to 5 p.m. They pay you, let's say, I just threw a number, 100 Deutsche Mark. So that day, you know that with 100 Deutsche Mark, maybe you can get 1 pound of meat, maybe 2 loaf of bread. Next day, with the same money, you even cannot buy a loaf of bread because of too much of inflation. So in November 1923, each US dollar was worth of 4 trillion 200 billion Deutsche Mark. So even the money that, the cost of printing Deutsche Mark was more than the actual value. So as you see, they just let people, the kids, to make some game or just entertain themselves. It doesn't worth anything. So the more recent story was Venezuela. You're not that much young that you don't remember. Do you guys remember what happened in Venezuela, or you were too young for that? So because of mismanagement, decline in the oil prices, so the government doesn't have enough actual value, but they had too many demands from their people, so they printed too many ways or the Venezuela, I think bolivars is their actual the currency. So in 2018, they have 1,700,000% inflation rate. So this chicken in the US depends the cheapest price that you can pay for this chicken. If you go to restaurant depot, is I think between like $2 or $3. I know if you go some stores, it might be much more expensive. But that chicken value at that time was 14,600,000,000 bolivars. So if you want to buy that chicken, you should just put that much of money to a store to just get one chicken. Especially the foreign policy of Venezuela at that time was very bad. They had some issues with the United States, and they were under a lot of sanctions too. Okay, so questions so far? So as you see here, there are three examples. Nixon time, which is stop backing US dollar with actual gold. German story in which government just printed too much money. Also, recent one in 2014, even up to now, the economy is really bad. So, if the control is in the with a government, they can do everything. So, if you have a bad government or a government that has a lot of issues, they just print out too much money, and you cannot do anything because let's say if you want to plan for next month or next year, you cannot have any decision. It's very hard to make a decision because you don't know how to plan your budget. Everything that you have may not worth anything next month. So another important time was 2008 in the United States, which we had a very bad crisis at that time. So people think of saying that let's just be independent from the government. So let's just have a certain amount of currencies that backed by all the people. So we will be free from government in terms of exchanging our currencies, in terms of trading. And basically, it was a more liberal way of doing finance that started from 2008. I talk about it later on, but these are two or three major stories that happened, which people think of, okay, maybe rely on government is not a good idea. About China, I know cryptocurrency is banned in China, right? So I had a Chinese friend who told me that time. So taking money out of China was hard, but people use cryptocurrency to easily be free from government if they want to send the money out of China. But yes, if you have cryptocurrency in China, you can send it the amount of you like out of China without the government control. So the governments can do some government do hard against cryptocurrencies, but people still use it. So some countries are on heavy sanctions in the United States. Their banks, even like one example is Iran, Syria, I think even North Korea, or even Russia. So it's almost impossible for them to send money to US, but they can send through the blockchain cryptocurrency. Okay. So let's talk about ledger systems. Is a core financial system. So records of transaction, accounts, and balances. It includes debt, credits, transactions, so on and so forth. So let's say if you buy something from Amazon, so you press a button in your laptop, so the Amazon ledger would be updated. Actually, for some reason. Okay, so when you buy a product from Amazon, in the ledger of the inventory, that item would be reduced. It was sent to you. So that ledger has a transaction of an item from the Amazon warehouse to your home. Also, your ledger at the bank would be updated. You send some financial value to Amazon. Amazon bank account ledger would be updated. So ledger is the most important thing in the financial system. Basically, accounts books. So Actually, the most important part of blockchain is also ledgers. So there is a immutable ledger that is decentralized and everybody accepts. There are different style of ledger. So Bitcoin is a transaction-based ledger, but Ethereum is a balance-based ledger. Ethereum is the second most famous blockchain technology after Bitcoin. The good thing about Ethereum, you can easily create applications. So you can create this decentralized application and host it over Ethereum. Bitcoin is just for financial transactions. There are some works around Bitcoin to use it for application development, but Ethereum is the most common one and much easier to do those sort of applications. So Bitcoin ledgers are immutable, consistent, high accuracy, timestamp, and also they have a brief description of every transaction. So if you compare fiat money or regular money with Bitcoin or cryptocurrency, a good advantage of blockchain-based decentralized technology is transferability and also portability. So for sending money, let's say from India or China in the US, you communicate with your bank communicates with the SWIFT system. SWIFT system communicate with a bank in the US, and you send the money. So there is some intermediary parties, and also you need to pay some fees. Sometimes it might take some time. I think depends on which system you use, but usually takes between 3 days to, let's say, 1 week. It could be a little more or less than that. So with the decentralized blockchain, you can send directly from one person to another one without any intermediary parties. So cryptocurrencies and also fiat, both some of them are fungible. They are not unique. So if you go in more in depth, actually, cryptocurrencies are unique. So the Bitcoin that I sent to you and the Bitcoin that I sent to other person, they are different. So they have some, the difference are in the code and in the transaction that we talk later on. But usually, for both cases, you don't care. So if I give you $5, unless you have different plans, it doesn't. There is no difference between $5 and $10 because both of them have the same values. So in terms of acceptance, cryptocurrency has a wider acceptance. You can go everywhere and people can recognize. But there is some example like Soviet Union, like Venezuela, which their fiat money are not accepted in many parts of the world. Stability, so there is some methods that some isn't everywhere. I talk about the examples, but in major cryptocurrencies, the amount of issued coins are stable. People cannot add it more, so there won't be any new issuance. So it brings some stability. So modern financial transactions start from 1960s and 70s, which internet was created at that time. In 1994, we had the first online order, and in 2010, it was the first time that people used Bitcoin for exchange of value. So Laszlo exchanged 10,000 Bitcoins for 2 pizzas on May 18, 2010. So he at that day, he asked if someone wants to exchange Bitcoin with pizza. Jeremy, almost 4 days later, they accepted, and they traded 2 pizzas that worth of $41 at May 22, 2000. So people call it Pizza Day. Do you know how much worth of Bitcoin right now? Almost 70K. Yes. So if that guy kept those Bitcoins, he could have $700,000. No, more than $700 million. So that was, I think, the German's best trade. So he invested $41 to get 10,000 Bitcoins in May 22, 2010. Now he has $700 million. It looks crazy, doesn't it? Actually, believe me or not, I had one of the funniest trade too. So at that days, I didn't know anything about cryptocurrency. I just saw it looks fun. So do you guys know about Shiba Inu? So it was one of the meme tokens. At that time, I just invested $200 just randomly for fun. It could be a mistake. I don't recommend to do it because most of people lose money. But funny, it was like getting a lottery ticket. So the $200 changed to 120K for me in 3 months because it was a new token that was just invented, and I saw many people talking about them. And it was first time I wanted to buy a meme token. I said, okay, let's just buy this. It was totally random, but I had some similar experience, not as good as this, but it just from that time I said, okay, it seems a very cool technology. Let's just start to learn about that. It just incentivized me to learn about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin after that. At fun fact, that time many people asking me about cryptocurrency, Bitcoin, and blockchain. I didn't know anything, but because I get so much gain, many people think I'm a very knowledgeable guy about this technology, which I just did it randomly. One thing, so although I had a very good experience, but I have had friends and I've seen people who got bankrupt. So you see, I think every year you might see there is a lot of voice around some tokens or coins, and a lot of advertisement. I've seen it. I heard a story of a guy who sold his house buy a good new coin. So he believed that if he buy this coin, he could be multimillionaire after a year. But that coin lost 98% of its value in less than a year. He almost got bankrupt. One time I wanted to move from a place to another place, from a place in Shrewsbury. I hired two movers. Movers means just people who take your furniture. And I saw they look very educated and very nice people who doesn't have enough power to move heavy furniture, and asked them, it doesn't seem you are actually movers. You look much different. And they said, okay, we are two computer scientists who got bankrupt over trading cryptocurrencies. One of them, I forgot, but I think lost 80K or 100K. And his wife had a plan to divorce him, so he had to work as a movers in the weekends to compensate his loss. So don't do it as a gamble. So if it's a gamble, 99% of people lose. At that time, I had an extra $200, and I just did it. It was like buying a lottery ticket for me. So nobody can recommend buying lottery ticket to be rich. So it's a very bad idea. Questions so far? So by now we talk about cryptocurrencies. We talk about fiat money. Even old time people use rhinestones or foods to exchange values. There's a very interesting recent story about customers M-Pesa. This is a cell phone network provider in sub-Saharan Africa. So over there, many people don't have access to the banking system, but everyone has a cell phone. So in order to do trade and do exchange of value, they trade their cell phone time, their talking times. For example, let's say I have on my cell phone, I can talk 20 hours because I already paid for 20 hours. I would tell you, okay, I send you 10 hours of my 20 hours, you give me some meat. So instead of exchanging money, which they don't have access to banks, they exchange the talk times. So let's talk about cryptocurrency payments. It's peer-to-peer, so there is no intermediary parties. It's secure and trusted. People should trust on those sort of transactions. Otherwise, nobody does it. How? Through cryptography, is a mathematical methodology, auditable databases. So the databases that has those transactions are transparent, and consensus protocol. So we will talk about all of them in details, but basically consensus protocol means people who are on the blockchain all accept that transaction. So for sure, you need some sort of internet, you need some sort of mathematical algorithm that guarantee those consensus and also transactions. So have you heard about Satoshi Nakamoto? It's an unknown person. It may not be a real person, but in 2008, he broadcast his paper on Bitcoin, a peer-to-peer electronic cash system. So in that paper, he explained about his proposal. He proposed Bitcoin at that time as a peer-to-peer electronic system. Is decentralized, and also he talked about the technical part of consensus system. So Satoshi Nakamoto is the inventor of Bitcoin. His solution had three major promises: is decentralized, secure, and trusted. And since the amount of issued Bitcoin is limited, so there would be no inflations. I think I just went through too many lecture notes. So let's have a break for maybe 10 minutes. I pause the recording, and then you can leave the class or stay here, but we start in 10 minutes. Okay. Let's talk about general issues or challenges that we have with Bitcoin, or actually every type of blockchain or cryptocurrency. First one is privacy and security. So this is important that you use Bitcoin for exchange of value. So you need to be very sure that your transactions have a high security. We talk about everyone, but governance and control and updates. So anytime we say fork in a blockchain, we mean update. So blockchain is a chain of blocks. So after certain blocks, community who holds blockchain or hosts the blockchain, they might decide some certain updates on codes that basically manage the blockchain. So sometimes some people agree on some updates, sometimes they don't. So people who don't want to do update, they just keep adding blocks in the previous version. People who wants to have the update, they add blocks on the new branch. So we call it fork. So it just means two different chain of blocks after a certain number of blocks. So the voting, the community, so all of them are challenging. The performance scalability. So Bitcoin, many years ago, not the years ago, actually, like 10 years ago, it was much faster because the people who adopted Bitcoin, even Ethereum or other blockchain, so it was small, the communication was much faster. Right now, it just gets larger and larger. You need a better computer. So you need to scale up your network. You need to scale up your computers that holds the blockchain. Interoperability with other traditional financial system, legacy systems, adding applications, legal issues, and also energy consumption. So one of your friends said about China's story that the government blamed Bitcoin because Bitcoin consumes a lot of energy. So actually there is some Bitcoin community, they try to invent new approaches to resolve the issue. For example, they look for reducing the block size. Sometimes they look for new hardware technology that they need less energy. Also, there is some new blockchains. One of them is Solana, which I'm really fan of that. So Solana changed the mathematical methodology. So with that, they can have high security. they had a good governance, and they have high throughput. And the transactions are much faster. So for your second assignment, just do your own research and see how Solana try to resolve these challenges or issues. You don't have to answer all of the issues, just one is enough. For example, why Solana consumes less energy. So I can answer this one. So they changed the mathematical formulas. So their mining approach is different. So instead of proof of work, which we study about that, they have proof of staking or other methodology. So they can do mining with much less energy. So blockchain is still a very new topic. There's a lot of opportunities to be entrepreneur. So these are some major business areas. So working on public ledgers, peer-to-peer trust, monetary activities, metaverse, insurance, lending, NFTs, so on and so forth. You can even do some coding and create your own bank. You can lend cryptocurrency to some people, get interest. So the technologies that hold the blockchain are very important. So there are these are some of the major methodologies or technologies that blockchain is built upon. So Bitcoin is proof of work. Ethereum 2 and some cryptocurrency, they are proof of stake. We have proof of history, proof of capacity, authority activity. Later on, I show you how proof of work works. But if you're interested, you can also do your own research what and how this other type of technology works. So Bitcoin blockchain got slow. It consumes a lot of energy, and it was hard to develop applications. Not very hard, but it's not as easy as other blockchains. So other people, they try to resolve Bitcoin issue. So they had to introduce a new mathematical methodology or technology like this. For example, Ethereum uses proof of work, but you can develop application much easier. Solana uses proof of stake, but you can do transaction much faster and much cheaper. So one of the good thing about Bitcoin blockchain is its transparency. So you can see from everywhere in the world, you can see information of blocks, how much money sent from each wallet to each wallet. Although the owner of wallets are unknown, but whenever you want to exchange cryptocurrency, let's say Bitcoin with fiat money, government can come. For example, this is one example. Some years ago, hackers hacked the Colonial Pipeline in the United States. So many they shut down some of the power stations. So some part of US people don't have any power, no electricity. So the government had to pay $2.3 million to hackers in Bitcoin. So they let the power station get back to the market. But also, since everything is transparent, US government just announced to all the exchanges, these block informations are from me. This is the money that I paid to hackers. Seize those Bitcoins. So whenever hackers try to use those Bitcoins, exchange company just sees them and send back to the US government. Because everything is transparent. So we don't know who was the hackers, but they couldn't use it. So one of the things I've seen people are get interested is price of Bitcoin. It was very cheap, so 10,000 Bitcoin was $41. Now it's each one Bitcoin is 70K. But there's a lot of fluctuations. So people who are very good in machine learning, they try to predict those fluctuations. For example, if you predict the price of Bitcoin, these are actual values. So if you predict the price of Bitcoin will be $29,000, and maybe next month it's 67, what would you do if you can actually predict? You buy here, you sell over there, right? So, frankly speaking, predicting Bitcoin prices is very hard. One time I spent a lot of time, I actually predicted them, I published a paper, but it just gets harder and harder. One of the topics that you can do predicting the Bitcoin prices. So I explain later on about my paper, but it's one of the applications that you can do. So trading Bitcoins or any cryptocurrencies. Okay. Have you heard about Cardano and Solana before? So we have concept of coins and tokens. So you said that mining Bitcoin blockchain was very hard in China because the government blamed the miners because it consumes a lot of energy, right? So first of all, miners are actually holders of the blockchain. There are people or companies that hold the blockchain. They need to consume some energy. And I will show you why they have to consume. The mathematical reason behind that is super easy. I explain the next class why they have to consume energy. But anyway, so let's say they consume energy to maintain the blockchain. They to bring security for the network or trust. So how they get compensated? By coins, by the coins that are monetary units of the blockchains. So let's say they buy some computing facilities in China. So and also they spend some yuan for the power. So they get some bitcoins. If the price of Bitcoin is more than what they spend, they get some profit. Otherwise, so these are coins. So coins means financial incentives for each blockchain. But we have also the concept of tokens. So tokens are not the main financial means in the blockchain, but people who develop apps, they also develop some tokens to do the exchanges. So let me tell you something. So have you ever used Starbucks app? Have you used any app that gives you some, let's say, bonus or coupons, right? So now you're in the US, the main means of exchanging value is US dollars. But you also have some tokens of, let's say, Starbucks or other apps. They have some values. For example, you can use your Starbucks tokens to get coffee, right? So tokens and coins are like this. So coins is something like US dollar. Token is like those bonuses that you get from that. They still have some values, but they are the main bloodline of the blockchain. So, for example, look, have you heard of Shiba Inu or Dogecoin? Dogecoin, right? I have 120K from Shiba Inu. So, Dogecoin is the Ethereum blockchain. So, people, the miners of Ethereum get rewarded by ETH or Ethereum. So they do mining and the Ethereum blockchain sends some Ethereum to their wallets. Or let's say bank wallets or bank accounts of blockchains. But people who use Ethereum, they use that blockchain to create their own cryptocurrencies. So we call it tokens. So coins are the main incentives of blockchain. Tokens are created in the blockchain. So also we have many times you might see some meat points or frauds. So creating a token is creating a coin is difficult. So if you want to create a coin, you need to design a blockchain, you need to have miners, you need to have some sort of consensus. Many people should adopt your blockchain, and then you can have a coin that reward those miners, and also people use it for exchange, right? But tokens are easy. So if you want to create token, you just need to have to write 1 or 2 pages of codes and create your token. Then you advertise it, people accept that, you get some money. Have you seen a Squid Game series? It was one of the most famous series over Netflix. It's about the game. I think it was in Korea, right? South Korea. So anyway, it's a very famous series. So at that time, the Squid Game was a hot series. Some people just wrote 2 pages of the code and put the token for trading. People thinking it could be the next Dogecoin or Shiba Inu. So many people bought that coin. So the value was almost near zero. It just jumped heavily when it was very expensive. The owners of token just sold all the token and said goodbye. Then the price just dropped down. Just be aware of that. Dogecoin actually was something like this. It was a meme coin. Somebody did for fun, but he was a genuine guy. So after he saw so many people bought his coin, he just kept doing more development. So, but it was not the case for a Squid Game. So be careful. If you want to do more secure investment, buy coins. Coins, the main incentives of blockchain. So just buy a cryptocurrency that are used for maintaining a blockchain. Buy coins. If you want to get, if you want to play a game or get a lot of profit, sometimes token works, but many times people just face frauds. People create cryptocurrencies, you invest, and suddenly just sell everything and say goodbye. Okay, this is my paper. If you want, it's accessible over the internet, but if you want, I can share it with you. So I use machine learning to predict Bitcoin price fluctuations. I could get a very good accuracy. My dependent variable was if a blockchain, if a Bitcoin price goes up or down. If I know next day price of Bitcoin will go up, I buy today. If I know that it goes down, I sell today. I also tested over COVID time. In the COVID time, the accuracy went down. But if I exclude the probabilities of a near 0.5, because you know that, let's say logistic regression, 0.5 is your threshold. More than 0.5 would be up, less than 0.5 down, or first or second category. If the problem was next to 0.5, I exclude them. So again, I could reach out to a very good accuracy and AUC. And also I posted a tool that people can do for decision making about the price of Bitcoin. Okay, so in this class, we learn how to create NFTs and post it on the market. I'm not sure if we'll buy it from you, but at least you can have the experience. So you guys know about the Mona Lisa painting? It worth millions of dollars. So if I bring Mona Lisa painting to the class, you know that is fake. I cannot. But if you look at that, and if I have a very good copy, it's near impossible to say is the actual copy or I have a fake. Right? Because, or let's say you, I think one gem in China, you can find replicas. I'm not sure if one or other cities, but I know there is a market that even there is even in Los Angeles. So I've been in Los Angeles and I saw so many fake Gucci and Louis Vuitton and those kind of things. And they were actually expensive. So I saw a $200 Gucci bag. Still, it's not cheap, but the actual one was $10,000. The original one. I had a replica, but exactly same. I couldn't recognize the replicas, but it was like $200. So even there's a famous Swiss watch, Rolex. Recently, the replicas Rolex is very hard to recognize. I've seen some experts they use microscope to look at it and just okay, this is a real one or fake or replicas. So one way, if you're very expert to recognize a fake art or replica art and the original one, right? Sometimes even it's very hard for experts. Blockchain provides a mathematical solution for that. So if you say I have the original picture of someone, I have original watch, they can look at the codes put in the blockchain and recognize that is it the actual one or not. Even some people use blockchain for supply chain because it's very transparent. You know the origin and all the previous owners of your Rolex watch. So let's say if I bring a Rolex watch, actually I have a replica. If I bring my replica, you can look check the blockchain. I would say, okay, this watch that I have is owned with someone in, let's say, Germany. I shouldn't have it here. Where they look at the blockchain and it just shows the previous owner. I couldn't be that. So interestingly, Jack Dorsey, he's very active in blockchain right now. He was one of the founders of Twitter. So he sold the NFT of his first tweet for $48 million. Oh, he put for sale, but the highest bid was 200. I think there's I should check the news, but let's say even $400. So a tweet $400 for half. So they put the tweet on the blockchain, and if you buy the NFT of that tweet, just means you are the owner of the tweet. For you, for many people, it could be meaningless. Who cares about the one line of sentence? This is the first tweet. NFT of monkeys, they worth millions of dollars. And the only reason is social acceptance. They are one of the first NFTs. People just sell and buy, they got a very expensive values. So this is one example of one of my students who created his own NFT. His name was John D. Euphemia. He also worked in the company named Blockchain Miners Club. So this blockchain company had two major operations. First operation is mining Bitcoin. The second one, creating and selling NFTs. So I think he was intern at that company. He did his internship. I'm not sure if he stayed at that company or he's doing another business, but he worked at that company. Okay, so just be sure that you have for next week is next you have Python already on your laptops. You don't have to do R. The project that I did here, predicting the Bitcoin price was in R, but for this class, I think you don't have that much time to spend on R, but at least have Python ready. Also, I put some readings. In case you get interested, you want to get further ideas, you can read these readings. They give you good insights about Bitcoin and also blockchain. For the next 10 days, you have two assignments. One is introducing yourself. The second assignment is about Solana. So you study about Solana, how Solana resolved the challenges that Bitcoin had. One challenge was security, another challenge was speed, throughput, so on and so forth. Any questions? Okay, so that was for today. Today we had a shorter class, but depends of the experiment that we do. We might have even longer classes.